everyone, and welcome to NameHero. I'm Ryan, the founder and CEO. Today, we've got a new feature that we're going to start putting out here on our YouTube channel, as well as our blog, and we're also going to hit up iTunes. It's a new segment called Web Hosting Heroes, and it's going to be a weekly segment with Mike Jung and myself. You guys know a little bit about me, but let me kick it over here to Mike. Mike's joined the NameHero team recently as our director of infrastructure. He's helping us lead up our new data center deployment, as well as optimizing our current data center infrastructure. Let me hand this over to Mike and let him give you a little background about him real quick.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say, I'm happy to be part of the team now. It's been a fun couple months. My background, I come from a managed web hosting company, Liquid Web, based in Lansing, Michigan, and I spent about 7 years there working through support. Went up to the enterprise team, ended up being the first product manager that was there. That's actually how I kind of met Ryan, and we worked together for a while, making a plugin so he could hook into our API and also offer some kind of VPS hosting. So I did that for about 7 years total at Liquid Web. Moved on to Cloud Spectator. So I've always had a passion for benchmarking, and that whether that's PC games, getting the most frames per second, or even tune in a car to go a little bit faster. There's always something you can squeeze out of it. Huge fan of measure something and try to make it better. So I was the senior analyst over at Cloud Spectator for a couple of years and moved up to director of consulting over there. And then finally, I actually ended up buying the company I was working for. They went out of business. The original owners were just moving in a different direction. And so I asked him, hey, this is kind of what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to, help people understand performance in general, especially cloud performance. So I ended up, buying the assets of the company, and I've been doing that for about almost 3 years now. So working with larger cloud providers, trying to understand how does your vCPUs perform, how does storage perform, database, WordPress, you name it. I've kind of done a lot of projects on that front. So that's just a little bit of my background, and it's been fun to kind of get back into the hosting space. I've been in just pure cloud for so long, which is fun. But it's why is there a cloud in the first place? And generally speaking, it's to host websites and apps. It's not just the big companies; it's for everyone. So I'm excited to be in that space, to be able to kind of help those people, by just improving their performance or working with them to optimize their site, and also getting into our data center and working on the hardware again. So it's a little bit of my background.
Fantastic, Mike. And Mike's shy on that. He is one of the smartest people I've ever met, and he's certainly played a huge role into the success of NameHero and our growth over the years. When I first met Mike, I think it was a cPanel conference, 2018, 17-ish. There was an instant connection there, and we really had some good talks there that really materialized a fantastic relationship. And you mentioned the work on that plugin. We did some amazing things with that. So you're very, very shy. I think it's still a shy introduction. Mike is a cloud guru and a performance optimizer, and the best I've ever seen. So congratulations, Mike. That's awesome.
I'll take it. Thanks.
So, the part of this segment here is, I want to begin giving kind of a background into the day-to-day type stuff here that happens at NameHero and some of the stuff that we've been working on. I've been quite quiet here on our YouTube channel, as well as our podcast. I haven't done a podcast in quite some time. So we're going to syndicate this through the different channels and get up to a weekly segment of this where we shoot to do this every single week. Depending on what happens in life, but to where we can not only provide a background into what's going on behind the scenes, but also ways that we can help you. And I'm talking to the collective you out there watching this, how we can help you optimize your website and increase and enhance your experience with us here at NameHero. So I guess before I jump too far into this, let's just talk a little bit about where web hosting has been, where it is now, and where it's heading. So if we go back here a little bit, let's say here to the 90s. Mike, you remember the late 90s? Are you too young for that? The late 90s?
A little bit too young. I was still kind of just figuring out how how to get the password to my parents' dial-up back then.
But, I got started on online in 98. So I made my first website, and it was like a GeoCities free website, and I was amazed that stuff I could type in my bedroom at 13 was broadcast like to the entire world. And it didn't matter, where you were, you could read my content. And immediately, like I knew that there's a huge potential in this tool called the internet, to give the every average day person. I'm a 13-year-old kid in a small coal town in West Virginia, and it gave me a voice around the world, essentially. And I saw that potential in there, and it really has opened my eyes up to all the possibilities. Now, did I ever dream that in 20 years from then I'd be having the internet in my back pocket? No.
Right. It's kind of that's crazy. Yeah, just to see how far even mobile phones has gone so quickly. I mean, I remember you used to have like the BlackBerry or like the Droid, the flip out Droid with the keyboard, but you could barely do anything. It wasn't really like interacting with the internet. And these days, yeah, it's you get the full experience on your phone. So way more connected now. Obviously, much more demand. So it's exciting to see that evolve.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I feel like the early days of the internet, that, the internet was more for institutions, schools and universities to connect their students and to connect information, kind of like an online library type deal. And whereas now the internet, it powers pretty much all the e-commerce, or most of the e-commerce. How many Amazon orders do I get a week? I mean, it's insane. Or even DoorDash, to order food. It's like, the internet is the new commerce, and not just the new, it is the commerce.
Well, and it's also connecting people too. I mean, I remember some of my first experiences. You're on these online chat rooms that even going from like Yahoo Chat, and back then it was just such a weird, unique concept. You're just like, you're just talking to random people. Who knows where they are? But like before then, all you could do is you knew a friend, you dialed them up on the corded phone, and that's really just changed our whole society everywhere, and it's connecting everything. So the more and more connected we get, I think the better. It's been interesting watching that unfold.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So how that ties into this web hosting space, the whole web hosting space is, in those early days, it was, you could have a website if you wanted one. So me, 13-year-old Ryan, I just wanted to have a site that could be read. Eventually we saw businesses start to, kind of come in, that they looked at it like, well, the .com thing, that's not going to replace my phone system, or that's not going to replace my mailbox. We might have an informal website to where people can get our information. They can get our phone number. They can find out more about our company. And, then now that's changed to, if I want to be in business today here in 2022, I have to not only have a website with my information, but it's got to be functional. It's got to be able to power to where, I can take online reservations, or I can accept orders. During the 2020, COVID pandemic, a lot of restaurants had to start implementing, and we saw this at NameHero, how to order their services online, how to order food online and either go pick it up or have it delivered. So it's crazy to see how that's exponentially grown to change.
Yeah, and I've seen that over the years too. I mean, even like maybe 5-10 years ago, even at Local Web, you started in going to a lot of these cloud conferences. It's, you went from, well, people just want to have an online presence, right? They're not convinced they need to, they just want to sell in their brick and mortar shops, to now they're getting an online presence, but now they need to keep that in sync with their local, store. And they gives them more flexibility on that front. But that also, you need more compute, more resources, and that starts to get more and more complex. And, luckily we've got the WooCommerce and Magentos, and there's a lot of CMS that makes it easy out there. But, it's still something where I still think there's a vast majority of businesses aren't fully even online yet. But I think, in the next 5-10 years, we'll see that. There'll be some businesses that are online, but I think pretty much everyone will be, and they'll be able to take orders in person or online.
I read something here recently that the web hosting space, it continues to double down, but it's supposed to do something like, exponentially grow by maybe 8 times or so. And I'm just kind of paraphrasing. I forget where I read the article, but in the next 10 years, it was just talking about the growth, and, just the curve was pretty much just a complete exponential line. Not only growth here in the US, but worldwide. Now that countries around the globe, even the developing countries, are getting access to mobile phones and devices, you have a whole new new audience that is starting to use the internet really for the first time, or essentially for the first time. And so that really, you start to think about that and the number of people in this world, and it's really mind blowing about the growth of the internet as a whole.
And it's going to keep snowballing too, because as you get new people online, first they start using it, but then, over time, they're going to start developing on there. They're going to have ideas, and that's a whole group of people that, really haven't had much input on the internet. So, that's going to be exciting to see what happens as more and more people who've never been online get online. There'll be new ideas, and obviously a lot more demand in the future. So.
Absolutely. And I was going to get into a little history of, web hosting and, how it relates to the every average day business or website out there, and the kind of the idea behind NameHero. In 2014, I've operated businesses since the late 90s, as I stated. And in 2014, I was operating a online marketing business. And what I noticed is there didn't seem to be a shared or affordable web hosting provider out there for the everyday average individual that wanted to either have their own blog, or if they were a small business and not an online business, but a brick and mortar business, they wanted to have a website, but they didn't really know where to go. We saw a lot of the traditional or the larger brands out there, your HostGators and Bluehost and stuff that, really pioneered the early 2000s. It seemed like they had begun to really transition into really a corporate, like all into melt into one corporation. They kind of lost that entrepreneurial spirit and got bought out by larger companies. And it seemed like the product had not changed much in 2014 from 2002. They're still using kind of the old school dedicated servers, the old SATA drives. And so behind NameHero was like, all right, the cloud is the future, but it didn't seem like any of the shared hosts had really started to utilize cloud technology, SSD drives and the flexibility of the cloud. And that's what where NameHero was born, was to not only be able to bring that into the shared hosting space, that's affordable for the everyday average individual, but also to keep it simple to where you didn't have to go set up, your own server from scratch, that we could essentially, have an interface to where you could simply input your information and deploy your servers in just a couple of clicks.
Well, yeah, and you get to, have someone to actually, if you have a question or an issue, you pick up the phone or do a ticket, and someone's there to, there's someone there to respond to you quickly, versus a lot of these larger companies tend to be much harder to get that kind of like, hey, let me talk to a human. Kind of a thing. And that's, I'm excited to see how we're going to scale up our support in addition to our infrastructure in the future. At the end of the day, people are always going to want to talk to people. You're going to have robots and knowledge bases and chat bots, and that'll help to some degree. But there's just so much out there where having that connection and being like, well, this is really what I'm trying to do. And talking to someone who understands that, I think it's going to be really important in the future. So yeah, again, excited to help that happen here, like it's been happening.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, Mike. And when people would ask me in 2014, where do I go to host my application, to host my website, I got to the point where I'd say, well, what you need to do is you need to set up a cloud VPS, and then you need to install Apache, and you need to set up a load balancer, and you need to set up MySQL or Percona or whatnot. And I would get lost. You could see the deer in headlight look. And so that's where it's, man, wouldn't it be cool if this whole infrastructure that I'm already using for my own businesses, if I could scale that and bring it online to the everyday average individual. And again, that's where NameHero was born. And it's hard to believe that was 7 years ago. It's been crazy to now watch, the birth of that, and then to watch it actually grow and to watch people put it to use, and to see the benefits that they're able to get from that. They don't have to go to Amazon and, do the whole complicated deal. They can come to NameHero and get set up.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it's been fun, watching you grow, because, you used to be one of our customers when I was back at Liquid Web, and, you were growing then, but flash forward, how long has it been? 5 years, something like that. And to see where it's at now is, it's cool. It's cool to see, and I think we're gonna continue to grow.
Yes, and it's been, I have to give credit to the hero in the name, and because the hero in the name is not me, and that is solely our team. So that's you, that's Jamie, that's Mark, that's Abalash, that's Anju, that's Arun. I mean, I go on down the list of our team members that have made NameHero to what it is today. I'm simply the guy that's privileged enough to work with such a beautiful and fantastic team that's so talented and so passionate that shows up every day and really enjoys the whole customer experience and working with others. And our saying is, we serve others as we wish to be served. So we really go out to serve others how we would like to see a hosting experience on our side. If we put ourselves in the customer shoes, what would I like to see when I'm going to submit a ticket, or if I'm going to reach out in live chat, if I'm trying to call someone, that formula continues to work to this day. And again, I just can't say enough about our team and how they've made all this possible to where we are today.
Yeah, definitely. That was one of the things that kind of really impressed me when I was on board. I mean, I had interacted with you, but I had no idea who was on board on the team, and to see so many people you're employing full time that they're engaged, they're always there. That really helps. Helps me get excited about working here too.
Yes, absolutely. And that kind of brings us into this next chapter of NameHero. So, as I said in the beginning, I've been kind of quiet on social media, on YouTube, and that's because I've had my head to the ground, my hands into the hardware, and we're developing our own data center here in Kansas City. And to where I believe is I call it the data center of the future, to where it's not the old school data center where you set up dedicated servers and then you install WHM and start deploying hosting accounts. No, instead we're building our own cloud out of our own data center. And when I brought this up early on, and people in the industry say, "Well, why don't you just go to Amazon, or why don't you go to one of the big public clouds and do this?" Because all of our competitors, we see them making that jump. They used to have their own data center, but now they're moving to the public clouds. And I just couldn't disagree more with that, because developing our own data center with our own cloud, we're able to get so granular to develop not only servers that are extremely fast, reliable, and secure, but also that are affordable and are specifically designed to work for our customers. So everyone out here watching, designing equipment, design a cloud that is specifically tailored to help you and your website and to make it easy, fast, and affordable.
Yeah. And, a lot of, while Amazon does have, a ton of different features you can utilize, so do the other, Google and Azure, these days with, there's a lot of technology out there in software you can use, and you're going to get effectively the exact same functionality. And given our kind of client base and shared hosting, we don't need all these things from Amazon, and that allows us to essentially offer, much faster servers built for a purpose, and we can basically pass those savings down to the customers, and that's how we're able to really offer that solid and high performance hosting at a pretty affordable price compared to what anyone else could do. Because and for coming from Cloud Spectator, I focus on not only performance, but how much performance do you get per dollar spent, so, you might say, well, I need two vCPUs and 4 gigs of RAM. What's the difference between these providers? Well, there's, hundreds and there's countless cloud providers out there. They're not all equal. You have to go in and actually measure that performance. But you can't just look at performance. You got to look at, well, how much am I paying? So that's one of the things I'm really excited to kind of help, even improve even more in the future, is not only improve performance and stability, but, also do that at a price point where we can really offer it to everyone. You don't have to pay a premium for performance. I think in some cases the industry kind of wants to go that way, but, I think I don't think that'll be the direction we're going to go. And I'm excited to see, kind of how far we can push that.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one thing at NameHero, which we in the beginning we saw in 2014. I saw the majority of the shared hosts out there were using this SATA drives, and the same type of CPU, and all CPUs are not the same as we know. And so we went out and started to use SSDs into our cloud, which at the time was unheard of. But in 2020 we made the jump to moving to NVMe's. We started off, using Intel Xenon E500s, or I'm wrong on that model. We went to the Intel Xenons, and then eventually into the AMD Epics, and now also the Intel Xenon Golds. So I try to stay ahead of the curve and being able to offer, what would be considered at Amazon or one of the big public clouds, a premium CPU for a premium price, trying to take that and bring that into the shared hosting model. And so developing our own data center, able to take that high performance equipment and to customize that for the web hosting experience. I'm really, really excited about that. And, I think people are going to really see a lot of benefits from that on their own websites, and, look at the possibilities that as their website and business grows, that their site performance is able to scale along with that. And they're not having to, go migrate to something else, that they'll be able to have a hosting package that's sustainable. And again, I think we're doing that already in a capacity, but building out our own data center is going to allow this to open up many, many more opportunities, for the people. They'll provide even more opportunities to take their website to that next level.
Well, and a lot more security too. I mean, I was just down there at our data center, and that is one of the most secure facilities I've ever seen, hands down. You can talk more on that point if you want, but it was very cool. It was very cool to see that. We might touch on that later.
Well, we can kind of, that's a very valid point. Let's jump on into there. So, for those that know me, I am a security paranoid person. I grew up in the online world, and, so I've always been, really paranoid about security and making sure that things are safe and secure. And starting that all starts around the physical location of a server. So, my very first dedicated server was in Miami, Florida, at Dial Tone Internet, I think it was called. And I remember thinking, what happens if a hurricane comes and knocks out the power? Then my site's gonna be offline. And at a very young age, I thought that. And so it's like, well, they have generator power. Well, if that hurricane's strong enough, it could essentially take down the building, take down the rack itself. And so out here in Kansas City, one of the drivers of when I moved here was there's a facility, which you've seen, that we're now in, which is under the ground in a old limestone mine, essentially a bunker, to where KCDC is located. So essentially, it can withstand an EF5 tornado or most any other natural disaster because it's literally inside the earth.
Yeah, it's hundreds of feet under pure, just solid rock. Yeah.
And it was fun the first couple of times driving around there, touring the facility, and I literally got lost, trying to find it. And so, security wise, not only do you have the armed security guard at the front, before you even enter, that takes down license plate information and all that, literally trying to find it exactly is quite the challenge. So, those points right then and there, I don't know of too many other data centers in this country that have that level of physical security, just to that extent, before you even walk through the doors, to where we start badging in and retina scanning and fingerprint scanning, and even speaking with the security guard there at the front too.
Well, and you don't have to worry about cut lines either, or fiber, right? I mean, I would imagine a lot of that stuff has just been piped through that rock, and what are you going to do? Nobody's accidentally going to, go dig up a fiber line through that rock, which is cool. And I guess on that note, one of the things I thought was really cool is, coming from Michigan, we love our rocks. So I love to go on the beach, or go out to rivers and look for agates, and or even euperlites. Is a recent discovery, which is really fun to find. So it's really, and I also love technology, so it's been kind of cool to finally go to a data center that's literally surrounded by rock. Granted, it's boring limestone, but it was a kind of a really cool for me to see that, because I was like, man, this is like merging my two interests together. So I had a blast down there. I was very, very impressed.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that, because that's not a coincidence. It's kind of like everything coming together here. Because I put on your LinkedIn, we're going to redefine rock solid web hosting. Literally, rock solid web hosting. Those customers here, our customers here at NameHero, are literally in rock solid web hosting. Really. Yeah,
and hopefully it'll get more and more solid in the future. Hard as an agate, basically, or jasper. That's how I like to call it.
Absolutely. So the other thing that goes into, picking a location for a physical facility is, not only that physical security, but also to have the reliability component. And that goes down to power, cooling, network infrastructure. So we look at our facility that's, we're developing. One big part of it is being into the natural earth, being into that limestone is you have a natural cooling component. Of course, we have the real expensive, HVAC units that, raise air through the floors, just as any other data center would have. But you have that natural cooling component of the limestone, so you're not having to run those units at a capacity that you would had you be located above ground, or even above ground in, say, Miami or say Los Angeles. And then that cost saving right there gets passed along right to the customers.
Yep.
I was, I said at the time, I was like, man, this is like one of the best ideas I've ever seen to have this type of facility in this location, and the gravy on top that's in the center of the country. So there's some customers that still really look at network latency as a tremendous benchmark. I have a little mixed feeling on that. I feel like nowadays that connections are so strong that physical location does not make a tremendous amount of difference as it did 10, 20 years ago. But we are in the center of the country. So really, wherever you're located, you're pretty close to our location here in Kansas City.
Yep. And I mean, with CDNs especially, I mean, that's going to help cover most of it. And I'm sure in the future, when at some point we'll all grow this one, and who knows where we'll be next. But I think being in the center of the country does have a big advantage there.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. And we do have the plans, to expand on the West Coast, East Coast physical locations. However, having that rally point here in the center of the country is, for us, I think it really makes a lot of sense to have all those components that come together so nicely. And then we're also, looking at over in Amsterdam, where we currently have servers, expanding out that space to also hit some other countries as well, some parts of Asia. Or whatnot, because NameHero, we are global, and it's really amazing that we have customers in every single country in the entire world, besides the sanctioned countries or whatnot. But we have customers from everywhere, which is amazing to see. NameHero in our reach nowadays.
Well, it's fun to interact with people from all over the world, and like Cloud Spectator, it's kind of the same thing. I've got I've worked with customers from all over, and it's cool to do, but it's also just fun to work with different types of people. I love variety. It's the spice of life, as they say.
Yeah, Mike, and one of the most rewarding things about being CEO here at NameHero and watching customers grow is to see customers from other countries that are kind of where we were as a country here in the U.S. 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, and to see them, they just now started to get internet access, and now they're building up their businesses and websites for all types of businesses, and seeing those individuals and businesses come in and grow. It's been fascinating, watching them, being part of their story, helping them, obtain this technology, be able to utilize the technology, and get to know them, get to see their businesses. And then at the end of the day, also be able to support and help their businesses grow to levels that, that are just crazy growth, right?
Yeah, well, and we're all in this together. We're there might be different countries and continents, but at the end of the day, we're all on the same planet, and that's one of the coolest things about seeing the internet go is more and more connectivity, more and more different kind of cultures, mindsets, and the more that kind of stirs around in the melting pot, so to speak. I think the better for all of us. So yeah, it's fun on seeing their business grow, but also just you're really kind of anyone. It's not even just us, but anyone in the internet industry who's helping this we're kind of all helping in our own little way connect everything further and further, more and more together, and that always gives me a cool feeling.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. And the internet provides this unique opportunity to where individuals, small businesses, entrepreneurs all around the globe can rally together and work together and create cool technology that literally is or has and is continuing to change the way we live every single day. Growing up, it always seemed like an unimaginable thing that you had your big corporations such as like Walmart, like there's the big Walmart. And my dad had a small hardware and lumber chain early on. before going to solely self-storage. But anyways, as Walmart and Lowe's and Home Depot, kind of your chains started coming around, they started to put the small business out. It's like my dad, he's no longer in existence in that business. The internet provides that same small business owner or individual an opportunity to get on that level playing ground with everyone else. And hands down, that's I think the coolest thing about the internet is not only that freedom and flexibility, but to put just everyday individuals on that same level playing ground. We can go to Target.com just as easy as you can go to RyanGray.com or NameHero.com, right? There's no other than SEO type stuff, but that can also come. But it's all level playing ground.
Yeah, definitely. And I know when I'm traveling and you're really going anywhere, I like to check out the smaller spots sometimes, because a lot of times there's something unique there, something different to offer than a lot of the other chains have. Nothing wrong with going to a Walmart by any means, but I think we're always going to see that dynamic. I would hope we'll never see a day where it's just Amazon and Walmart,
right?
Everything, that'd be the worst. That'd be a horrible world, and I don't think we'll get there. But the internet gives everyone a chance to grow, but also just be unique. And they have their chance to compete, basically.
Well, I think that's actually a good analogy too. Is you look at Walmart. So back in the '90s, I thought, well, my gosh, no one will ever be as big as Walmart. Well, comes the internet, then comes Amazon. Right. Amazon did start from an individual that grew it to now where it is today. It's like, well, what's next? You look at, Zuckerberg was a college student and started Facebook, or Larry and Sergey with Google, and Uber. All these technologies continue to evolve and obviously, adapt, develop, progress. And we continue to see this worldwide. And so, it's my hope that someone's watching this video out there, it's got that next idea or is in the midst of that great idea, and they're looking for, well, I need servers. I need an affordable way because I'm a startup. I got this great idea. I need to get online, but Amazon seems like a really big pain, or the big clouds or whatnot, or I don't have time or the knowledge to hire server guys or gals. Where do I go? And that's our goal here at NameHero, is to be able to fill that gap and to embrace that entrepreneur or individual, and to help them, be a catalyst behind them launching their business.
Well, yeah, and especially now that we're gonna, we're kind of owning our own infrastructure. I mean, we also have the ability to not only get you started online, but as you grow, we're going to have the capacity to scale you. So you don't have to worry about that portion of it. And when you get to a certain point, if you keep scaling with us, we'll keep supporting you. We'll keep helping you. And if you try to do that over at Amazon all on your own, unless you're spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, you're still gonna have to pay someone else to come in and help you anyway. So, we really want to offer the full solution.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely it's spot on. I mean, I had a software company prior to NameHero, and we used Amazon to host those servers. And we had a full-time server guy. Even though I had all this experience too, we had a full-time architect, so to speak, that was in there, working on the APIs of Amazon and getting everything just where it needed to be. Because I also had a company to run. It was just a lot of moving parts. And then once he left and went on, then it was like I had to learn, how he did it and all that. And it was just like a mess. And so, it's our goal here at NameHero is to be able to offer the same type of services, but in a manner that is quick, simple, affordable, easy. So when you're done with it, you're not frustrated and burned up and ready to just throw your idea out the window because the whole setup was hard.
Right. Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about the price performance value. I know benchmarking is huge. I mean, I know, this left and right. I mean, like front and back of your hand. But how does one go into really evaluating how are they getting the best bang for their buck? They're getting the best performance for their website or application, because obviously no one visits slow websites. Everyone wants to have a fast website for not only search engine optimization, but if I go to a slow site on this bad boy, I'm throwing it. I'm going to the next one on the list because I can't stand a slow site.
Or you're getting to the drive-through and it didn't load. So, okay, well, put it away and you never go back. Yeah. And that's why I've always, I believe there's reasons for high performance, a couple reasons. I mean, we know that the faster, your site is, the better odds you're going to rank higher. If you've got equal content with someone else, your site loads faster. Maybe just changed, but I think generally speaking, Google, other search engines are going to reward that. And so, at Cloud Spectator, there's two ways you can look at it. You can kind of start with, how does my website perform today on desktop, mobile, from different locations? And then if it performs good, well, cool. If it doesn't, well, then you got to start stepping back, right? Then you got to look at, well, what are we using? What's the Apache Nginx, whatever configuration, or, and eventually down to the hardware. So, when I look at cloud performance, I always like to start kind of, I guess, at the bottom of the pyramid, if you will, or the back, which is going to be, how does the CPU perform? Like, let's just start comparing CPUs from 5 different providers. See how one vCPU performs, right? And then how does that scale up? Same with memory, and especially with block storage. CPU performance is really important, but I find more and more block storage performance is critical, because you're going to have the fastest CPU on earth. But if the storage is slow, the CPU is spending a lot of time waiting around. It's like trying to drive a Lamborghini with basically bald old tires. It's not going to perform as well, even if it's a Lamborghini. So yeah, I've spent a lot of time using various tools, to kind of test, how does infrastructure look? How does block storage, CPU, RAM look? Then you kind of go up the stack and you say, okay, well, what does it look like if I create a dummy database, with a bunch of random stuff in there, and now we're running queries, read, write queries. How does that translate to, okay, well, if we have a fast CPU, slow storage, is that better than having fast storage at a slow CPU? And then, by testing MySQL or any other database app, and just that aspect, very kind of rudimentary testing, but it's still, it's using the CPU, it's using the storage. Then you can really start to see, and that's when you kind of go, oh, aha, okay, this is what we need for this. Maybe we need a blend. Maybe we don't need super fast storage, somewhere in the middle. And then ultimately, once you've kind of tested that, you also want to test out the web server. Generally speaking, databases are very dependent on storage, especially if you're doing a lot of writes, even reads. Web servers, things like web servers, PHP, stuff like that. Generally is never touching storage in the first place. So that storage doesn't really matter there. That's where you want to focus on like CPU and memory performance. And then ultimately, after you get past kind of the I guess application stack layer, then you're finally looking at what are we interacting with? Is this a website? Is this an e-commerce site? How long does it take to place an order? And that's other aspects to look at too. You can hit a website a bunch of times, the home page, and say, well, gee, it loads fast. And maybe it does load fast, but if you're selling products and it looks fast and everything's cached on the CPU side, but then when somebody goes to place a big order, that takes time, or there's issues there, or when they finally get there, it's like, well, I have a database intensive app, I was hoping it'd be fast, and now it's not. That's kind of when you can put the whole picture together, at least on the performance side. And generally, obviously, if you have super fast CPU, super fast storage, great, but then you got to look at how are you configuring the database server. So I can go on and on and on and on about that. There's a lot of variables, but a lot of that experience, and it's been fun to kind of implement a lot of what I've learned over the years into this new NameHero infrastructure, because we're already doing that, right? We're testing the hardware, we're picking the best CPUs, we're finding the best RAID cards, best RAID card configurations. We're optimizing the OS. We're going through and seeing, hey, well, what do we need on MySQL? What do we need for, either Lightspeed or Apache or PHP? And we're putting that stuff in place to something that's relative. It's going to work for everyone. You can't perfectly optimize it. So we're kind of doing a lot of that already. And the hope is, you just bring your website here, and almost most of the time it should just be very fast. And not only really fast and expensive, it's not going to cost you as much, because we're picking the hardware smartly. We're basically getting the best bang for our buck out of this, and we're passing that along to you. And so I think that's something that I'm a little surprised there's not more, I guess, competitors to Cloud Spectator in this space. But it's also something, when I bring that up to a lot of people, sometimes they're like, huh, well, I never even thought about it that way, and it's like, that's like always the first thing I think about. So we're kind of tying it all together, and really trying to offer you the best bang for your buck. So you don't have to worry about that.
That's a great explanation, Mike. Thanks for sharing those details. I didn't think I learned a couple things in that right there. And for those of you watching, I say here on NameHero that we can have the best hardware, we can have the best servers. Now we can have the best facility, we can have the best software, we can have all of that, all of these shiny things that are great. But without the people, without our heroes, we are nothing. We are absolutely nothing without our heroes that are behind behind the scenes, mixing all this together. So what Mike just shared with you all, that is the type of stuff that is being worked on here at NameHero, and what he's going in and doing every single day, optimizing these pieces, looking at, how's this hardware work with this software? How's this software work with this hardware? How's this MySQL tuning work with this and this website? And so then you don't have to do it. So you don't have to go out and benchmark all this stuff or set up different things or set up different clusters and start doing A/B testing and all that. The goal is to bring your stuff to NameHero, to work with our infrastructure, work with all of our products, and to be able to have a fast website without having to go down that rabbit hole, without having to go through all those different aspects and the exhaustion that can go with that stuff, or the frustration. Even me, I've been in this industry since '98. And I learned just some right there from Mike and the performance optimizations. People are so important in relationships to make this stuff happen, to put all that together. So, Mike, I really appreciate you going into those details and sharing all that behind it. Because it's a lot of stuff, but what other shared hosts in the market out there is actually going into diving that deep into infrastructure versus just looking at solely ROI or revenue generation.
Yeah, and additionally, we don't want to just make you. I don't want to just make you happy because your site's fast. I love to see that, of course, but there's kind of I don't know if this will sound bad, but kind of like a greedy, or there's something in it for us too, because if we can make all these websites run really fast and efficient, and we're serving out of the cache, or we're serving what we need to, and it's really efficient, we're able to, fit more sites on a server. It doesn't impact your performance. And we've got a lot of balances in place there to make sure nobody can get too wild. But, that's a benefit for us. Of course, we can fit more sites on a server, which is great. But also, if your site ends up getting really popular because it's loading quick, people go to it, it's always up. And all of a sudden, Oprah features you, or you're on some new thing, and there's a big blast that comes your way. It should, a lot of times your site should be kind of in place to where it can handle that. Or if it can't, we'll notice that. Or if something's coming up ahead of time, you can definitely reach out to us. And I always like setting customers up for success, because if you handle that marketing blitz and a bunch of people come to your site and it's not down, you're probably going to grow, and we want you to grow, right? You're going to need to have more resources from us and maybe spend a little bit more, but we don't want you, we want your business to grow. It's a real win-win situation there. So just wanted to kind of put that out there. And personally, I'm happy to, if anyone has any questions, especially any of our existing customers, and you're like, hey, well, how do I make it faster? That's absolutely something I really want to do more with. I've been spending a lot of time helping the cloud providers understand how do they stack up, and also helping the consumer understand, well, where's the best bang for the buck. But I haven't been spending a lot of time with the smaller businesses, smaller websites, really making them grow too. So I'm always open to that, and really excited to do more of that in the future.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like to say, when you succeed, I'm talking to the collective you out there watching, when you succeed, we succeed. If you're not growing your business, then, we're not growing our business, so it's a two-way relationship, either way you look at it. And, I don't think that's in a greedy standpoint at all. I think that's how relationships work, is, everyone collaborates together, and then everyone is able to grow in a fashion that makes sense. And, Mike and I look at us here. I don't ever want to become like a corporate robot that's not flexible or won't listen. And so everything we do here at NameHero, including this new data center infrastructure, it's all based on feedback that we've seen over the years and collected. We'll start stuff, or kind of get into something, and then someone will provide feedback. And I always welcome feedback, positive or negative. Let us know. What would you like to see, and what would you see more of, or what are we not doing right? And then we listen to that, and then we implement those changes so we can offer you a better experience versus just saying it is what it is, take it or leave it.
Exactly. Yeah. And coming from a product management background, that's the most important thing. Listen to people. I love hearing from customers. Hey, this sucks. Hey, this is awesome. Or, hey, I wish I could do this. it doesn't matter to me because if a bunch of customers say, hey, we don't like this or we want this, that makes it easier for us to implement that too. And I guess I wanted to highlight on that corporate note. I think it's literally impossible for us to end up being like that. I mean, look at how many tattoos you've got. I don't have any tattoos myself, but I got the beard. I don't know if I want to cut that off. I don't think we'd ever fit into that world anyway. Plus, it's more fun dealing with the normal and slash average person than kind of those big wigs anyway. So.
Yeah, I don't operate NameHero for money. I've said this many times on our YouTube channel. This is my passion. I absolutely love web hosting. I love what it provides. The utility in itself to everyone is amazing. And so it's, I got to wake up every day and do something I really am passionate about and enjoy doing. And so, yeah, I don't have a suit on right now. And, some might say, well, Ryan, you put a shirt on for a YouTube video or whatnot. But hey, this is me. This is who I am. And so it is what it is. And so that don't really fit into that whole corporate, we're going to hit this ROI number this week. No, man, we're going to work with the everyday average person. We're going to work with your website. We're going to help you grow. And I'm just going to, and we're developing something that I believe is useful, that it's worked for, my businesses in the past. And I believe it can help you. I believe it can help many others around the globe, not just even here in the United States.
Yeah. And it's been fun watching you work because you're just crazy, man. You're always working. Hopefully I can help now that I'm on board, help reduce that a little bit. But I've never seen someone, a CEO / owner, working that much. I mean, you're working with everyone. You're back there, racking stuff and literally everything. So that's been fun to see. I hope you don't just kind of die out of exhaustion one of these days. We'll have to fix that one.
And I balance. I try my best at that. But still, yet, every day I like to say, I walk beside our team. I like to be right involved into everything. And not even at a control standpoint. My biggest fear would be sitting behind a desk and just marking orders. That's not my style. I want to get down there into it. And I was working with Mark yesterday. Yeah, I think yesterday, and we were racking up a new server, and literally, I'm sitting there cutting the cables and all that. Just one had copper on it instead of fiber. But anyways, cutting that stuff and getting it racked, and I was showing Mark, how we're deploying stuff. Because it's not only I get a lot of joy in that, to be able to actually physically do the work, but it helps me understand for our other team members, how can we make this process even simpler for our team? It's not just working for the customers, it's working for our team to make the whole experience, from product to even product creation, easy for everyone and affordable for the customer, all the way to the usability for the admins that are adminning it.
Yep. And when you understand what it is, or you're quote unquote in the trenches with everyone, and you see that, it makes it a lot easier to offer what makes sense to people, and also just relate to the people you're working with and the customers.
Yes, absolutely. Before we close here, I just want to talk briefly here about WordPress and CMSs in general, because you mentioned that. I think 98% of our customers do use WordPress in some capacity or another. It's by far the world's most popular content management system, and they've done a fantastic job in making it easy for small businesses and individuals to get online and have a really good looking website. Without all the hassle of knowing code and to develop, your own application or whatnot. But we don't lock customers into that. It's very important to me from the day I started NameHero is to not just go like the WordPress route. It's like a lot of the new companies started in the last decade or even recently. You keep seeing the same thing, the same cookie cutter type website coming up that, here's our managed WordPress web hosting, here it is. And we're better than insert competitor here because of this. We offer those same type of features, a lot more affordable too, but also not locking you into that. So if there's, another CMS that comes along the lines, and there's many more out there, or if there's an application that the customer wants to develop specifically, they're not just locked in to our set, WordPress platform. That's really important to me as we continue scaling and growing NameHeroes. We're not just based around that one thing, because there's anything I've learned in the last 20 some years of working online is things change, always are changing. And just because right now WordPress is the best and the hottest, that could be very different in 5 years from now. We never know.
Right. And there's also, I mean, there's a lot of other things out there. There's Python. Python's pretty powerful. Django, Node.js. I mean, even just writing your own custom site. I mean, if you just have basic HTML, we support all that, and that's I think you want to keep that open. So yeah, that's absolutely something that we're very flexible on.
And also the other part is too, a lot of these software as a service companies have come about over the years. So kind of your Wix and Squarespaces that have come up and let you publish your website. But at that point, like, and even the Shopify's out there, you can power your whole store on their platform. But what happens if you want to move around? And tell people this all the time on our YouTube. If you don't like us, there's many other web hosting companies out there. Like, go shop around, go try others. We're not going to hold your stuff hostage. And so I think that's right. And a really important aspect too is nowadays, like, there's this whole data thing, which is a kind of a new thing that's come about in the last decade with social media companies. I think it's important that the user has control over their data, over their files. It is theirs, not ours. And so we provide that infrastructure where they can put that data, but if they want to pick it up and take it, they can, and they delete it, they can delete it. So that's really important as well.
Well, and I think also too, I mean, you hear a lot about, hybrid clouds, right? I mean, and I think that that's something that we're seeing companies move to the cloud. But there's also the case for, well, I mean, you don't have to have all your eggs in a basket, right? Maybe you do have really secure databases or something. Maybe you want to host on-prem, or you want to host it somewhere else for whatever reason, but you can still host your public website somewhere, right? There's a lot of you can look at your website as a single thing, but there's generally a lot of components you can kind of split up. Maybe not a data. You probably don't want to have a database on the West Coast and your website on the East Coast to query each other. My point is more like the internal stuff. But I think, what you're saying, Ryan, is, it's flexible, and we're not trying to lock you up. We're not trying to make you go all in. And I think that's getting a little bit rarer and rarer these days. So I think we plan on keeping that alive, probably indefinitely. Of course, we'd like to have you around, but we're definitely not going to lock you in.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We of course, we want you around for the long term. You can always go to sleep at night knowing that your stuff's not held hostage, and that you do have that flexibility. You do have that control over the data. A lot of those platforms won't even let you in to edit your files. It's like once you can, as far as you can go as the WP admin, the WordPress admin. So now you can go in and modify those files if you need to modify them, but then you can also, add other functionality features. At the end of the day, your data is your data, and that's very important. And the last thing is too, as we begin to continue developing out our data center and scaling, is to really revamp our whole managed cloud section and segment of NameHero's website. It's really important to me, especially as these things have become so popular nowadays. I want to eventually start offering a really easy to use VPN product for people to connect on their phones. Wi-Fi is everywhere nowadays, but not all Wi-Fi is out there secure. And it's, a lot of people are starting to say, hey, I know I need to use a VPN, but where do I go? And so that's something we're working really hard on here at NameHero, to be able to offer those type of services to people to, want to protect their data, protect the integrity of their network, and to be able to offer an affordable rate for that that's easy to use, to where they can set that up.
Yeah, not all VPNs are easy to use by any stretch of the imagination. Yep.
Yeah, and there's also the VPNs out there that have the ads and all that. And it's like, man, that's I'm not going down that route. So
yeah, no, and I mean, on that note, I don't know if it's on your agenda, but it's something I'd love to see is start offering stuff like cheap GPU compute. I mean, we're the technology these days are it's unless you have like a really nice gaming PC, which I mean I'm a huge nerd, so of course I do. I could play all the games on high end, but I mean I think there's going to be a day when a lot of that stuff will be in the cloud too. And there's also many other purposes. So, while we're doing, hosting right now, we offer a couple different products. I think in the near future, you're going to see us kind of expanding. And a lot of that is based on our customers' feedback. So if there's anything you'd like to see from us, definitely let us know. I mean, my old product management habits and skills are coming back there. So if there's something we're not doing right or something you want us to do, obviously, reach out to Ryan or me or anyone else on the team. And, we're always listening.
Yes, that's a great point, Mike. We don't hide behind a screen. Reach out. Have that open relationship with us. On this video, it's gonna be on YouTube. Comment on it. My email's pretty easy. Ryan at NameHero. Mike at NameHero.com. It's super easy to reach us. Send that feedback to us because yes, we are going to. We always are taking in feedback, but I have tons of requests already for GPU based service and also stuff in the crypto world. Crypto is going crazy big, all kinds of stuff out there, a lot of different entrepreneurs. So being able to offer other services that come along with having our own secure, reliable cloud infrastructure, it's really endless. So, continue sending that feedback to everyone because we really do appreciate it. And, we will listen and we'll implement stuff for you. And so, while right now, NameHero hosting, NameHero reseller hosting, NameHero managed cloud, there's a lot more stuff coming down the pipeline to help you further your business and also help you, with your own infrastructure and yourself, up to this can be considered infrastructure, right? Help you keep everything safe and secure, not just your website. So.
Yep, that's a good point. Good point. And on the feedback note, I mean, this is this is the pilot, so we're kind of just kind of going off of just talking about ourselves at this point, but we really want to get feedback from you, whoever's watching this, on topics you might be interested in or other things to talk about. And that's the other fun part is going to be just doing this each week, and hopefully we'll get a following, and we want it to be a inclusive conversation too. We don't want to just be here talking to you. We want to talk with you. We want to interact with you, and that makes everything a lot more fun, especially these days when everyone's working from home and kind of a little bit isolated. So this stuff helps me, and even go down to Kansas City and meeting in person helps. But talking to random strangers, I love that. So if you find me on LinkedIn or wherever I am online too, that's not even at NameHero, and you're interested in something, or you got questions, or you just like, hey, I got ideas. Definitely talk to us.
Amen. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, same here. I'm not hard to find. I'm not a ghost. You can find me, not only on email, NameHero, but social medias, all the major channels there. It's pretty easy to get a hold of me or reach me or to get that feedback in. And also our resellers out there. NameHero is we've always prided ourselves. The leader in reseller web hosting, and what we see a lot of is WordPress developers, designers, advertising agencies, marketing agencies. That know that they have got all these customers that they're developing whatever for, but also want to be able to offer a quality hosting product to their end users that's white labeled to where they can make some extra recurring revenue versus a one-off. And the whole infrastructure here at NameHero, being able to white label and resell that, it's been amazing watching some of these hosting companies come on up, and use NameHero as their back end. Mm-hmm. So I look forward to one day getting some of those business owners on here with us, and talking about how they've experienced their growth. Because again, it's been so rewarding to watch them, see their businesses go from one or two reseller hosting packages to 50, or multiple servers and VPSs. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's that win-win, right? You grow, we grow. If we all grow together and we're talking and we're having fun, odds are we're all going to grow a lot quicker. Looking forward to that.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Mike, for joining me today. Everyone, this is our first episode. We are going to plan on being here every Friday, and it's going to have to render and stuff and get this out there. But we do plan on putting this on our blog, on YouTube. If you're not subscribed yet to our YouTube channel, I certainly recommend doing so, because a lot of times, not only you'll get notified of these future episodes, but also tips and tricks for your website, as well as future sales and exclusive discounts that we may not be posting publicly on the blog. So if you click that subscribe button there at the bottom, that'll make sure that you get the little red bubble when something good pops up, and then you can check it out. And also, we're going to get this on iTunes, so you can listen to us on the go, as well as SoundCloud. So make sure to tune into those channels where it's appropriate. We certainly appreciate the thumbs up on YouTube if you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, give us a thumbs down. Hey, I get it. We'll work on it. But we want to know your feedback, good or bad. Let us know. Keep that coming. Mike, I look forward to reconvening with you here next week. I guess we'll get back to our performance optimization and day-to-day stuff. But again, thanks for being here today with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And we'll talk to you in the near future.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, everyone, for using us here at NameHero.com.